didn't get kid guilt. Oh, interesting. Okay. In order to support MP1, I do have to Astoria and attacker. Oh, because of the MP up. That's why low heat potential that MP. I'm learning. A little bit. Yeah, that stupid little bit of MP gain and MP up actually helps out with it. That's annoying.
I don't think. Aha.
Ah,
Blitz.
yes. The ballroom blitz.
Aha, Black? Fight him.
Aha, Biden blast.
So I just have my daughter have anti-divine command card. Little more damage. Good question. I don't know. That like DAU
Wow.
GHTER. The fuck is that?
No, that's fucking Swedish.
Daughter? That's daughter. That the same thing though?
No, it's the A. Dotter.
You got
Yes,
the DEA on there?
Yes.
What the? There's a joke there. I can
We're
say
not
that I'll
so
refrain.
different, you and I.
What happened?
Yes.
Todd Howard.
Oh, the one you sent me? Oh!
Yeah, ho. What the hell are these skills? Oh my goodness. They're putting my grandma not 10 10 10. That's crazy.
Fucking love God, how?
My grandma's got to be 10 10 10, please. I hope so. Oh, that's wild. That's a Tyler 1 meme right there.
Speaking of that, I think I have one somewhere.
Time for you to fly up. Bye, my child.
Bye.
Goodbye, chat.
Hello, everybody. How's it going? Sorry, I'm running a little bit behind today. I don't know what was going on with me. I'm just behind. It's like one of those days where like you're not in a hurry and then you look at the time and you're like, "Oh shit." Merry Christmas, Bola de Imbeciles. What does Bola mean? Like ball? Would you call me an imbecile bowling ball? And hello RST, hello Shadow, hello Pion, hello King, hello Kayotsu, hello Age, how you guys doing? Okay, the thing is up. Also, Okayist, I need some thumbnails from you. Whenever you get the time. Alrighty. Oh, I gotta get you guys today's sauce. Let me grab that. Today's is by the wonderful Zen Harisawa. Hold on, I have to. The one thing I don't like about this mic arm is it's just kind of like in the way sometimes. Like when I'm trying to type over here on this computer. There you go. There's today's artwork for you guys on the Twitch side. Okay. Also, again, I'm gonna remind everybody, since we didn't stream yesterday on YouTube because we were watching the Game Awards, and I knew I was gonna get copy claimed out the ass if I tried. So we just stayed on the Twitch end of things. But the day before that, in case anyone's tuning in on YouTube for the first time in a hot second, I fixed some things on the YouTube end, so let me know if there's any like connection issues, because I think like I tweaked the keyframes and that's what the thing was screaming at me about. So hopefully that will resolve that like weird issue that we were having on the YouTube end for consistency. Okay, but yeah, like I said, just let me know if you guys are noticing something that's wrong or bad or dumb or something. I don't know. Okay, I need to figure out something on the order of a composition here for this. Wait, I can probably Oberon this. Well, we'll think about it. Okay. Da, 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 da. I'll leave Kentucky back there for right now. I want to see if I can pull this off. I don't know if I can or not, but we'll see. Shortcake, thank you for the 15. Hope you had a good one. I find it funny, just the other day we were talking about Sitonai and then they buffer. Yeah, like I said, someone asked me, like, do you think they will? And I was like, yeah, I think they probably will. Like, she's needed one for a long time, so like none of that's like surprising to me in the slightest. Yeah, I guess we're just gonna full send this basically, even though I have all that charge. So this is the part of the node that I'm the most worried about, actually. Is right here. Actually, yeah, I can double pop this if I go ahead and pop that now. Let's go ahead and let's see if she can actually do that. Very nice, Lartoria, today. Yes. We're like slop awards. Look, I didn't mind the Game Awards too much, but like I know there's a lot of people that, like, from what I was seeing today, like there are people that are upset over the Game of the Year. There are people that are upset over the best adaptation. So like it is what it is. I think with any Game Awards, people are going to be upset if like the thing that they wanted to win doesn't win, right? Like, and I'm not going to say like they're wrong. Like, oh God, like how dare they have that take, right? Like, I think all of that's like perfectly fine and understandable if you feel like they made the wrong choice. But I do think that at least some of my bigger concerns about the awards were alleviated this time around. It was a longer show. They gave more time for the developers to actually get up there and say their piece, which I thought was good. They literally had the Muppet peanut gallery there that was roasting Jeff Keighley, and I thought, like, man, that was actually a smart move by him, because literally, like, those guys just said everything we were all thinking, and it was actually great. Yeah. Let's see, am I running on Arcuid? Just the Lotto CE for this. This is NA, by the way, in case you guys weren't aware. I got to get my NA stuff done first. Okay, that's definitely not going to have enough firepower. Okay. I could probably tweak this to make it better. But joke's on them. Surprise Kentucky. Okami sequel, are you kidding? Best Game Awards ever. Yeah, like I felt like there were a lot of like really good announcements during that. And let's be honest, chat, like to a degree, we don't actually care about the awards. We're mostly there to see like the announcements of new games and stuff. So like I'm happy that there were a lot of like big, like high profile announcements. That's what really made the night the most enjoyable for me. But like I think like when it comes to the controversy surrounding it, like I know some people are going to be like, oh man, Arcane should have won the best adaptation. I don't think it should have. Like, I understand that people can have that opinion, but to me, Arcane was, how do I put this? Like, not nearly as good as the first season. And I haven't finished it yet, so maybe it gets a little bit better at the end. But the pacing to this season, because I think I still have like 2 more episodes of it to watch, the pacing to this season has been atrocious in that regard. And it was nominated for the award before it ever even finished. So I felt like that was already just kind of a weird thing in that regard. I do feel like Fallout actually deserved to win it in that regard, so I'm happy for it. Especially because I know the people for Fallout put a lot of work in. I'm sure the people for Arcane did too. I heard Arcane got like literally rewritten and redrawn like 3 times for this season. So that's part of the reason that it took so long. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I'm still like, I still think both were worthy of the nomination, but I'm glad that Fallout was the one that won it. With regards to Game of the Year, I think, you know, people are going to point to the player's choice and say, hey, look, we voted for Wukong. However, and I do mean this when I say this, because I'm sure there's going to be some people out there that are going to disagree with me again. But basically, my issue with trying to crown Wukong is that I'm not sure Wukong actually would have won the player's choice if not for the MiHoYo fans being kind of idiots. And what do I mean by that? well, the MiHoYo fans got greedy and they nominated Genshin Impact and Zenless Zone Zero, and as a result, they split their own votes because there were two. And so if they had actually all pooled together and said, hey, you know what, Zenless Zone Zero is the new game, it's got the best chance of winning, let's all push for that, it probably would have won due to the sheer like brigading that community does. So don't get me wrong, right? I am glad that Black Myth Wukong won the player's choice. But the thing I'm trying to point out here is that, yeah, like the player's vote, I think, was quite literally a vote between people trying to split their vote up from like gacha game titles and then everybody either voting for Black Myth Wukong or voting against the gacha game titles. So again, who knows how it would have played out differently had some of those not been nominated. And I think it's like, yeah, it could have been a much different story. I don't think Astrobot would have been voted by the players, though. I think, as people have pointed out today from what I've seen, it's estimated that something like only 4% of gamers actually have access to a PlayStation 5 at the moment. I think this number is actually false. I think it's low. I think there are a lot more people out there that have a PlayStation 5, especially now. But I do agree with the fact that any sort of exclusive title to one platform will naturally have detractors if it wins an award. And the reason why is because there's going to definitely be a significant portion of the people that didn't get to experience that game. And they're going to cry foul because of that. But I think that's more of a issue with exclusives than anything else, rather than like, oh man, the game is bad. It's like, no, the game's not bad. So I can kind of take those arguments and I can kind of shove them aside. And then we can have the actual argument of, was Black Myth Wukong a better game than Astrobot? And I think that is a much fairer and level debate when you don't have some of the other bullshit that other people are like piling on that. And I think I've heard from a ton of people that love Black Myth Wukong. Black Myth Wukong was super popular. It had the highest concurrent player count during the year on Steam. So yeah, I think that is worthy of that recognition. I saw there were people in the gaming media. So like to give some credit to the Black Myth like crowd here, there were people in the gaming media that said, oh, Black Myth Wukong only got an 81 on Metacritic, and it is now the lowest Game of the Year rated nominee ever because it's a 81. And I saw the media make this claim, and I laughed because I'm like, that is just the absolute most pants on head stupid thing that I've ever seen the media say about a game. Why is the game's Metacritic low? Because the media voted for it to be low because the media didn't like it. In fact, if you guys remember, I pointed this out during the Game Awards. There was some controversy there with them trying to claim that the studio was sexist. So I do think that basically a good chunk of the gaming media, of the games journalists, had an axe to grind with Game Science and Black Myth Wukong. Right? Like, that's where there's an agenda, and that's where people are just not going to believe them. Because we kind of all saw this happen from the very get-go. People basically just wanted to be pissed at that game, at least, you know, if they were of certain, like, proclivities or, again, of traveled in certain circles, like game media. So, at that point, it's like, you can't sit there and go, oh, why is Black Myth Wukong getting nominated because it has the lowest score out of any nominee ever, when you're literally the reason that the score is so low, right? Like, at that point, you're biased, and you actually should be, like, not talking about that at all, or, again, like, recusing yourself from the vote if you're somebody that was, like, complicit in tanking the game's rating. So I think that's where... I think that's where the Black Myth Wukong fandom has a lot of like ground to kind of stand on and say, look, you never liked this game from day one, game media. you didn't give it a fair chance. And I do agree with that argument. I think that argument is absolutely a fair argument to make. I don't think, however, that arguments attacking Astrobot for whether or not Astrobot is a good game are legitimate. Astrobot is a good game from everything we've seen. Basically, just because a Metacritic score is what it is does not mean that the game is bad. It does not mean that the game is good. The Metacritic score is just a literal listing of what the media reviewers thought of it. Nothing more, nothing less. So you can choose either to agree with the media reviewers, or like we've seen in many times of late, people often disagree with the media reviewers. And therein lies the problem, and why, content creators are popping off for things like reviews and stuff like that, because people are trying to seek kind of a either less biased or more in line with their manner of thinking type of review for the product that they're interested in. So again, I think there's major problems with viewing things just from the lens of Metacritic. So let's throw that out and let's say, is Metacritic a good thing? No, I don't think it is. Instead, we have to look at the actual merits of each and every game. And I'm going to say, in the case of Black Myth Wukong, aka BMW, and in the case of Astrobot, I think in both these cases, you have a studio functionally coming out and making their first real offering. You have both of them are widely touted to be great games by different circles of people. And you basically have each one being considered to be some sort of almost generational game at this point. This is why I'm going to say Astrobot winning it. Yeah, I think it's perfectly fine. If Black Myth Wukong had won it, I would also be saying the exact same thing. If all the Astrobot fans were up in arms over Black Myth Wukong winning Game of the Year, I would be saying the exact same thing to them right now. It's perfectly okay that they won it. It's also, chat, it's also a case of it would have been perfectly fine if Balatro won it. For similar reasons. A good game is a good game. And not every group of people likes every category of game. For instance, some people don't like shooters. Some people don't like platformers. Some people don't like turn-based games. Some people don't like strategy games. Some people don't like action games. It doesn't really matter. All that matters is, was the game actually good? And I feel like if the game was actually good, we can say what we thought should have won, but getting actually upset over it, there's no real controversy there, as far as I'm concerned. Isn't BMW a car brand? Yes. Marvel Rivals? Well, so what about Marvel Rivals? Am I saying that Marvel Rivals should have been nominated for Game of the Year? I don't think there's any hard agenda. It's just all opinions, good or bad. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to say, I think there was an agenda in the media against game science. We know this because they kept running articles that got proven to be false. They were trying to make the allegation stick. So that's where I'm going to say there was an agenda. Did that agenda translate over to the voting for Game of the Year? I don't know. I can say where there's smoke, there's probably fire. Does that mean that it should have won Game of the Year? Maybe. Let's assume instead that the media that there was no controversy about Black Myth Wukong. Should it have won Game of the Year? I don't know. Does the controversy even come into play? Was it truly the best game that year? I think that's a subjective thing, right? People that played Black Myth Wukong and loved it, they're going to sit there and they're going to say, yes, absolutely, it should have won Game of the Year. People that didn't play Black Myth Wukong are going to disagree. And people that played Black Myth Wukong and didn't like Black Myth Wukong will also disagree. So it really just kind of boils down to people have a tendency to want the thing to win that they played and liked the most. That's usually what it is. Like, for instance, last year, Baldur's Gate 3 for me. I was like, oh man, Baldur's Gate 3 should win Game of the Year. Why? Because I played it. It was fucking amazing. Your lived experiences do actually, like, impact your opinion, probably by far the most out of anything. Like, you can get other people kind of telling you, like, hey, you should say or do this, you should act this way, you should vote for this thing. But ultimately, at the end of the day, you're going to still go with the thing that you feel like you should based off your experiences. Makes sense, Wukong. Don't know about Astrobot. They're basically opposite audience. Yeah, exactly. And like, the thing I'm going to say too, I did see a lot of people saying like, wait, is Astrobot not the game that came out with PlayStation 5's release? And it's not. That's Astro's Playroom, which is the like predecessor to the game. That was a proof of concept and meant to be like a fun sort of like Wii Sports-esque like teaser that they included for free with the PlayStation 5. And then it was so popular and well received that they told Team Asobi to go make an actual game out of it. And that's what Astrobot is. Astrobot is a full-fledged game that is a platformer full of nostalgia and things like that. So yeah, like the fact that like several people didn't know this already kind of tells you, it's like, if you didn't know that there was a difference between those two, you didn't bother to like pay any attention to Astro's Playground. So at that point, like your opinion on it probably doesn't matter because you weren't even really informed about it, right? I'm okay with Black Myth Wukong winning Game of the Year. Like I said before on stream, I am okay with anything that was in that list winning Game of the Year, except the Elden Ring DLC. That was the only thing I thought should not win. And the reason that I stated that that was the case was, again, that like a DLC for a game that was released in a prior year should not be nominated for Game of the Year. I think that DLC is excellent. I think it deserves recognition. I don't think it's perfect. I think it has some issues. But it certainly deserves recognition. It just doesn't deserve to win Game of the Year. So the fact that it didn't win, I'm like, yeah, I was probably going to be okay with it no matter what. I thought Balatro would probably still be a dark horse because it's such a, like, again, it's a one guy indie project. So you're sitting there and you're like, ah, crap, I think I just messed this up. But you're sitting there and you're just like, man, you know, there's like, yeah, it could win, but odds are against it type deal. Next year, Elden Ring gonna win anyways, Lamau. I see you say that. Next year is so stacked. There's so much crap coming out next year. Like, just off the top of my head, chat, you have GTA 6 probably. Okay. You have Monster Hunter Wilds. You now have the Elden Ring. What was it? I don't even remember. It's like Night something. Yeah, you have Assassin's Creed Shadows. Look, chat, y'all gonna laugh, but I'm still gonna put it in here. Metroid? I think Metroid is like probably the biggest dark horse right now because nobody has any idea what it's gonna look like, and we don't even know if it's gonna come out next year. Like, everything on that is under wraps, so, and we haven't heard anything, so it's like it's presumed, but we don't actually know. Night Rain, thank you. What else am I forgetting, chat? I feel like there's more. They said 2025 at least. Yeah, and I think like Nintendo's usually good on that. What the deal with Metroid probably is it's probably going to be a launch title for the new like Switch predecessor. And like that's why you're not seeing anything on it yet. Because like they're going to keep anything about the new Switch under wraps until they're ready to announce it. Oh yeah, Ghost of Yotai. And that one is going to be a Game of the Year contender. Like you have Ghost of Yotai, GTA 6, Monster Hunter Wilds, like each one of these probably a really good shot as Elden Ring for being Game of the Year. or at least being nominated. Yep, Outer Wilds 2, which looks conspicuously like Overwatch 2. Sorry, Outer Worlds, not Outer Wilds. That'll get a Solid 3 remake. I mean, it could be, but I don't think that's going to get Game of the Year consideration. Borderlands 4. I think Borderlands 4 would be a real stretch for something like that, but yeah. Was Witcher 2025? I think so? Question mark? Witcher 4 has no release date? Okay. Yeah, I'll discount that then, because I think at the earliest, then you're probably going to see that like late 2025. Though, to be fair, like, I don't think GTA 6 is coming out next year. I think people coping. People be in Denmark because they Copenhagen. Okay. How do I want to handle this? $2026. I think 2026. I don't think it'd be 2027, but we'll see. Apparently they're full blown in production. Confused with Onimusha. Onimusha is 2026, if I remember correctly. But I feel like there was another one. There's like another like big thing that I'm forgetting, chat. Death Stranding 2 is going to get nominated? Well, remember, there's only so many nominees they can have, but yeah. We all know that he loves Kojima. Dude, that was the Muppets like joke about Kojima was probably like the only one where I was like, ooh, like you could tell Kojima didn't like that, because I think he was like confused as to what actually got said. And like he could hear that his name kept getting mentioned, but he didn't know what they were actually saying. Delta? What? Delta Force? Or you meaning the Metal Gear remake? Yeah. I don't think the Metal Gear remake's gonna get nominated because it's a true like 1-to-1 remake, as far as I understand it. Split Fiction will be great. Split Fiction, yeah. I mean, I think because of it winning Game of the Year in 2020, It Takes Two. I think you're gonna see Split Fiction getting some attention for that. But no, they're like, wait, is Gears of War actually confirmed for next year? Because yeah, Gears of War is gonna be like in that running as well. Doom Dark Ages. There you go, chat. Gears of War ED. Avowed? Not a chance. Yeah, I mean, I could put Avowed on here. Yeah, and thing to him. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they actually have a relationship, but like, it is what it is. But this is the point that I'm pointing out, right? Like, saying something's gonna be a shoo-in next year, there's a lot here. Like, there is actually a lot here. So, like, I don't know, right? Like, oh, sweet. So like it's a thing at this point. 2025 will be a bloodbath. Yeah, I mean, I think it's like the craziest aspect about it is that a lot of them keep grouping up in either the summer or in like February. And I'm like, what are you guys doing? Like, somebody's got to give. You've got to spread out a little bit more. You can't just keep going, well, our perfect date's in February. And it's like, sure, it's also the perfect date for everyone else. One of you has to go to a different launch timing. Wilds don't win Game of the Year, but I can hope. I don't know. I think Wilds is definitely going to get that nomination. Wilds has been hyped this entire year. Wilds absolutely, like I said this before, but I'll say it again. I think this is going to basically be the Elden Ring moment for Monster Hunter. Like Wilds is going to be their first simultaneously cross-platform release. And it's also coming at a time when, like, I think a lot of people, like, the hype for Monster Hunter has finally built. And I think a lot of people are wanting to get into it finally. So, like, it's kind of, it's peaking, basically, is what's happening here. So I think you're going to see a shit ton of people try out Wilds. If Wilds is good, Wilds will get nominated for Game of the Year. If Wilds is bad, Wilds will not get nominated for Game of the Year. So I think that's the issue at play there. Ooh, I had a card there. I think this is Grand Theft Auto's award to lose next year. Again, it was the most hyped game, right? Like that's what the people voted for. But we'll have to see, because I think everyone's like assuming that game's going to be perfect. And I think it could very easily not be. I think it's been a hot second since they've had another major release. I think they milked the crap out of Grand Theft Auto 5. Let's see what they do with Grand Theft Auto 6. If it's in Florida, memes are going to abound. But I do think there's a couple issues there. One is it is not releasing on PC day one. That's going to be some issues in the community. Two, I think because of this, it's going to be only on like the PlayStation 5 and Xbox. And this is going to make a lot of people have to go out and get one of these if they don't already have them. It's like the people that are on the fence about getting a PlayStation 5, probably going to finally break down and get one. The people that basically have been saying, I don't need an Xbox and I only need my PC, are going, crap, now I'm going to have to find a way. So I think it's going to drive console sales, but it's also going to be a topic of contention where people are going to be somewhat pissy that the game didn't come to PC right away. So you will see people in the community that will probably look at it and they'll go like, okay, like this is a really good game. I'll wait for it though when it comes to PC. And so they're not going to think that it's like this big hype experience necessarily. And they might not like all get in on it, but we'll see, because Grand Theft Auto is definitely the type of IP that can drive people to go out and get the console. Florida Man final boss, yes. They're dialing back who they're gonna piss on, because God beware, take a piss on certain people. I don't know what you're trying to say, but if we had a remake category, Xenoblade X could get nominated. Hopefully it gets nominated for score. Yeah, like I think they really should try to put in like remake and or DLC, since so much of the industry is that now. I understand they should be maybe included for like other awards. Like, again, like best musical score got basically won by Final Fantasy. And it's like, it almost feels like that's kind of cheating, right? Because it's like, okay, yeah, they did remake the soundtrack for 7 Rebirth, and it is good, but it is largely building on the pre-existing Final Fantasy VII soundtrack. So you're like, okay, there's all this nostalgia in there that we know everybody is like that's the reason it got chosen. So is that fair to the other games? I don't know. I think like this is kind of the issue with this sort of stuff, is like, I think for Game of the Year, you should keep that sort of stuff out. But for other awards like, you know, best music score, best audio design, best direction, that sort of stuff, like, yeah, maybe it deserves that nomination still. Oh, that's not gonna kill. I didn't realize it was wave 3. I was thinking it was wave 2. DLC should just be adding to the ongoing game section. No reason not to. Yeah, I kind of agree with that. I mean, like, the only reason why I would actually like to have a best DLC category, and I've said this before, is so I didn't use Oberon skills there as well, chat. Basically, if you have a best DLC category, it actually incentivizes developers to put some thought into what they're making for DLC. So you will start to see bigger, better DLCs get released in the hopes of winning the award. And again, that's going to transition the industry a little bit more back to things like expansions for games, which I think is good. I think, like, those of us that are old enough and were around for ye old expansion days of video games remember them pretty fondly. Yeah, you had to pay more money, but it was a one-time thing. It definitely had to be reviewed just like a normal game did. And basically, games usually did them once they were originally successful. So a game that was successful in its initial offering started to offer an expansion in the hopes of getting people, like, hyped up and buying into the game even further for more development, which was a lot better of a model for the consumer compared to getting, like, nickel and dimed every 2 seconds. Now, who it wasn't better for was for the developer. But I think, again, as you start to see this strive, this push back, like, away from spamminess and quantity and more back to quality, the games industry will improve. I think the greater the push for quality, the more likely you are to see better products come out of the gaming industry, particularly in the live service model of things. Good luck making me buy a console. I'll wait for PC release. Yeah, I think some people just naturally will. But so now think about this from this perspective. A lot of the people that will sit there and say, I'm not buying a console, even though Grand Theft Auto is only going to be on consoles on launch, when Game of the Year comes around, they're going to be like, nah, it's not a big deal this year. Grand Theft Auto wasn't that big of a deal. Why? I didn't play it, and it was exclusive, so I don't think it deserves it. That's basically going to be how some people are going to react to that sort of thing. Whether or not the media kind of gets influenced by that, though, I think remains to be seen. Because, again, the media are the people that are actually voting on the awards. So, expansions were amazing since it reawakened a lot of games. Like, DAO expansion was amazing. Oh, listen. I got one for you. I got one for you right here, chat. There's a good old expansion. Added an entire faction to the game and a new campaign. Oh, hell yeah. Warcraft 3 Frozen Throne would have been another really good one. Yeah, like, we used to have some amazing expansions back in the day for games that were already good. So I want you to think about this, chat, like for modern terminology. Picture, like, Baldur's Gate 3, and then there's, like, an expansion for Baldur's Gate 3 that just adds, like, 50% more story, more classes, and more levels to the game. That's how expansions used to be. It took a game that you already loved and thought was good because it was a complete and successful product, and it just expanded on it. It just made it better. So it's like, it was way better than the model of, like, hey kid, want to buy a new skin that shows off this character's ass? Like, don't get me wrong, I love seeing that character's ass, and that skin is pretty damn hot. But what we've seen is this sort of evaporation of adding actual content to games and not just monetizing what already exists there. Or the other issue that we've seen is, as we like to call it, predatory DLC that carves out base game features to release it day one to charge the player for it. So the game is less of a complete game due to the fact that the developer wanted to make even more money. And I say developer. Usually it's not the developer at that point. It's usually the publisher. That's why that crap happens. But day one DLC. Yep. Uh-oh. Let's do that. Sorry, this is kind of a wonky comp chat. I have to actually pay attention to it. You guys still have the box too? Oh, I literally, when I got back into WoW a couple months ago, I had to find all my old stuff, including my original Warcraft box and everything, which is kind of wild. But yeah, I think the gaming industry will be better as it starts to shift away from microtransactions and shift more into expansions and basically macro transactions. Okay? Because as you start to get to bigger DLCs, so like for instance, a DLC that we could talk about that was a pseudo expansion but not really touted as one would have been like Fallout 4's Far Harbor. Okay, that one's at least still relatively recent. And it's one where you can look at that, or again, like Phantom Liberty, if you want a more recent one, where it's like, hey, this isn't being touted as an expansion, but it basically is. So I think it's like, we don't have to go exactly back to expansions, but what we can try to demand is better quality DLC and bigger offerings rather than small carved up things that are nickel and dimed, right? Blood and Wine 2, yeah. Or again, Shadow of the Erd Tree. Like, all of that is like, hey, this is what we should be demanding as players and what we should be expecting. So to bring this all back full circle, this is why I feel like there should be a DLC category, because it will start to incentivize that in the gaming development community. Like, so actual devs will sit there and be like, wait, yeah, I want to win that award. Like, I want recognition for this extra work that we did on the game. And like, hey, maybe when like the development staff moves on to their new project, but some stay behind to work on instead like the existing game, they're the ones working on the DLC, and they're like, yeah, I kind of want appreciation for this thankless job. I feel like I should win an award instead of like, the new people that are going to work on the hot new thing and they're going to win the award instead. So it's like, again, I feel like this will actually cause a little bit of a tonal shift in the industry if they do something like that. League is shifting from micro to macro? No, they're not. What do I mean by that? Well, for starters, you made me scuff again. Oh, I still have one command seal, thank God. Means I'm not going to have any for farming later. I guess we'll have to turn on I Scuff I Gift during the lotto portion. But yeah, like, basically, League is still offering the same amount of content, just at a higher price. League will sit there and it will claim, no, our skins are so much more elaborate and so much better. And then you'll look at a side-by-side comparison, you'll go like, yeah, it's flashier, but it's not actually better. There's not actually more content in this. So at the end of the day, I think we can say, yeah, it's like that's not actually macro transaction at that point, other than the actual sheer cost of it, which is just kind of wild to me. The notion of micro is just growing for the companies. So the whole reason that like DLC became a thing, right? Like back eons ago in the dark ages where we were playing on our computers with our stone tablet keyboards and are again like friction based engines for our computers. Essentially, the whole reason that DLC started was because the model of expansion-esque content was risky. You would spend, years, we're going to say like 2 to 3 years developing a game that may or may not pay off. Then you would attempt to develop an expansion and that would also probably take you like another year or two after launch. And then you would also be like, hey, is that going to make money? And usually only if both of these did make money was your project successful in the end, right? That's why a lot of like games got away from that model, is because that gap of development time where they're like, essentially it's like, I could show you that like the way you guys saw me break that down right there in an actual graph, and it would look like this, chat. Okay. So it would basically be 2 huge spikes of actual revenue. One on release of the game, the other on the release of the expansion. And it doesn't mean like it immediately died out, but it means it started to very quickly taper off as to how much money was actually being made. And so the issue became, how do we get here? How do we get from point A, where we release the game, to point B, where we can release the expansion? Or how do we even get to point A? How do we keep the lights on when we're not making money? That's where the microtransaction model came in. Microtransactions allowed for a smoothing of earnings to get them to the next thing. It basically allowed them to have, and where this started out is even before microtransactions, chat. You had the live service model with this puppy. Subscriptions. That's the whole reason people did it. They wanted to keep revenue more constant and reliable than having big paydays that had 50-50 chances of missing, right? Like, oh shit, Jimmy didn't do his quality assurance on the game and it's a buggy mess and everyone fucking hates it. And we all wasted all this time and all this effort to not make money, right? So that's where like that sort of mentality comes from. It's trying to find a way to make the industry's revenue more consistent. This is also where the mantra comes from of like, hey, it's okay to pay for a microtransaction if you're trying to support a game that you like. I think there's some merit to that mentality. However, at what point have you done enough? At what point have you supported the game enough? Right? Like, that's, I think, a big question that you have to ask yourself. Like, for instance, chat, at what point have you supported FGO enough? After one GSSR? After buying a pack? After being a dolphin? After being a whale? After being a leviathan and rolling everything to NP5? At what point does it end? Where is the edge of the slippery slope? So I think that's another thing to consider is like, yeah, it's a good idea to support things you like, but you're not in any way, shape, or form obligated to. Especially after an initial payment. I think with a free-to-play game, it comes with this idea that, like, yes, your payments are what is keeping the lights on, but with and this is where, like, I'm sorry, chat, I have to kind of call this out because it's the truth of the matter, but, like, with a game like Diablo, where it was live service with microtransactions, but you also had to pay for the game, this is where I say there's a problem here. Because this is the free-to-play model. So then why does this exist? And that is your reason right there. It's pure greed. Like, Diablo 4 should be a free game. Don't tell Blizzard that. They won't like hearing it. But Diablo 4 should be a free game. The fact that they charged like $100 to have early access to the first game was ridiculous. They already had the free game version. It was Immortal. Yeah. Which, okay, so let's point that out. So we finally transitioned Diablo, aka Blizzard, into the free-to-play model. And what was the result? Quite literally, the scummiest, most microtransaction, like, gacha game I've ever seen. I don't think there is a game that was actually, like, more poorly monetized than Diablo Immortal. So, like, it is what it is. And they still made millions. Just sad. Oh, yeah. Yeah. But so it's like, you look at that and you go, like, yeah, this is why it's like, the reason it is the example is because Blizzard is at this point on the, like, peak. On the peak of the, like, the microtransaction asshole, like, mountain. They are absolutely up there all the way, and they keep raising the bar higher somehow. So, like, I'm not going to say gacha games are good either. I feel like gacha games also are predatory in a lot of ways, and I don't think anyone really would dispute that. But ultimately, at the end of the day, that's why you have that free-to-play model, is this idea of, hey, it costs you nothing to take part in this, so if you want to support the game, pay for something. As opposed to, hey, we already made a shit ton of money off of you, please continue to pay us money. Yeah, Chad, if you had to pay to access the game, you have no obligation to spend any extra money on the game. You've already supported the game by paying for it the first time. If you wish to support it more, by all means go for it. But there is no, like, you don't have to feel bad about, like, oh man, you're not, like, paying for the subscription. You're not, like, getting your what, like the Welkin Moon and Genshin, or like, oh hey, you're not buying the horse armor to support our game. Like, no one actually fucking cares. Like, that's usually just some fanboy trying to gaslight you. When even gacha players bought, yeah. Gacha adds the serotonin of gambling. Yeah, I mean, again, I think a lot of people will tell you that, like, gacha games aren't gambling, but I think a lot of people will tell you that they are. I believe gacha games are gambling, 100%. However, at least with gacha games, usually now we have, again, the concept of a pity mechanic. So usually you're not going to completely lose the farm, right? Like, unless you're just actually an idiot with no self-restraint. But it's like, the game will eventually give you what you want type deal. So it's basically gambling light is what I would call it. Not light in the amount of money, just light in the sense that, like, there is a, like, off-ramp, right? Like, you can get off the highway. As opposed to, like, gambling where it's like, I mean, you can get off, but, like, do you want to? There's no actual way off. We didn't provide you with a safe way off. Junior's first gambling, yeah. Well, where it all comes from is, again, like gacha games, chat, literally come from gambling. What do I mean? Gacha games come from gachapon. And what gachapon is basically vending machines like that have a chance of giving you the thing that you want. So it's like you literally will get like a capsule, and that capsule might have what you want in it. It also might not. That, there basically is no pity other than in theory you could buy out the entire fucking machine. But that is gambling, like 100%. And it is a regulated thing, like over in Japan. So, which is also why at this point, gacha games are regulated now, because they are just an extension of that model. Then people argue it's not gambling because you're not gambling for something physical. You right. Yeah, it's not gambling. It's worse if there's not anything physical. And I do agree with that. Like, because the way gacha games work, one day, every gacha game currently in existence will shut down. You will probably get nothing out of it. That's the harsh reality and truth. So while we have a limit that acts as a wall to stop us, we don't have a safety net below us. Like, at least with a gambler, they get their winnings. They can turn around and use that. In a gacha game, you get your unit. You cannot do anything with that unit outside of that game. It is, you cannot take it with you type deal. At least not, we have to wait for like, I don't know, like Elon or somebody to invent like freaking like make anime waifus real, right? Like hey, now there's like, we can take the soul of this gacha unit and put it into a robot waifu. So until something absurd and crazy like that comes out of like Japan or some crap, it is what it is. Gacha games should give an offline mode when EOS happens. I completely agree with that. I think that needs to be like a, I think that needs to be a like legally like regulated thing. At least to the extent of like, I'm not saying you need to have like always online servers or something, but at least to the extent of like it needs to be functional on like, I don't know, like in some sort of like effervescent form that you can keep like carrying it forward. Sorry, not effervescent, evergreen form. After being around for like 7 or 8 years, completely shut down, no offline. Yeah, I think that's ridiculous, and I think the players should demand better out of that. Like holograms in Blade Runner. Yeah, but you can't touch a hologram, can you? I don't remember. It's been a hot second since I've seen Blade Runner. Like, I'm talking more like Ghost in the Shell, where it's like, aha, it's an actual like entity. Or like Detroit Become Human. Like give me my hot anime waifu robot. I don't care if I get like nasty looks at that point. Cutting into developer profits. It's not even the developer, right? Like let's be honest, chat. You think the developers are sitting there making bank off of these games? They're like minimum wage paid like people just like you and I at this point. So it's like all it really is it's like, oh no, you're cutting into the stockholders' rate of return, you're cutting into the board's golden parachute. That's all it freaking is. It's like, oh no, the multi-billion-dollar corporate company had less of a return on investment. Oh no. It's the suits and the stockholders. Yeah, exactly. Okay, it'll cost you $250,000. Will you pay in installments? Does it cook and clean? Because, like, low key, I'll do that right the fuck now. Bet. If it also cooks and cleans, that is the best investment I would ever make in my life. Do I have a server for, like, Discord? Yeah, just type in ! Discord. Publishers the real problems, the suits. Yeah, I mean, Sven talked about it. I don't know if you guys, like, heard his speech during the Game Awards last night, but, like, he was unfathomably based with, like, all of the comments that he was making. It was amazing. Did you read the director's letter? Some people are going to get banned. Yeah, I did. And it was funny because, hey, Strom, where you at? Like I said, this is why you don't exploit things, guys. Yeah, here, we can read it. Glad they're punishing people, though. Hello, Strom. Yeah, no, like, again, this is exactly what I predicted would happen. Like I said, the fact that they already retrieved some of the people and reversed like course on some of the people, but they didn't do it with all of them, indicated to me, it's like, why would you bother to do half? Think about that, chat. To me, this was obvious this is coming. Like, oh, what? We're gonna remove 80% of the player's benefit from this bug? No, they're going to remove 100%. They're not going to bother to do it otherwise. Like, if you're not going to do 100%, you're going to just leave it for everybody because people will complain. So, and look, I'm going to say this, okay? I have to say this. People in the FGO community are too damn fucking impatient. Probably myself included. But I feel like the majority of the time I'm on the, like, when it comes to, like, being patient versus being impatient, I feel like I'm way more on the patient end than most other people. Because, like, I saw Twitter and other content creators going fucking insane over the past couple days about, like the maintenance and, like, the glitch. People, like, out for blood and shouting from the rooftops and demanding, like, things. And I'm like, first of all, if you speak English, they're not fucking listening to you. Second of all, I'm like, guys, like, it's fine. There's no fire. Like, the server is not burning down. It had its issues, but, like, quite literally, just because somebody got to take advantage of a bug and you didn't is not the end of the world. And furthermore, like I said, I felt like they were probably still going to do something about it. And they did. That's what this is. So here you go. We sincerely apologize to many of our users the inconvenience caused by the emergency maintenance that occurred yesterday and the response we took. In yesterday's announcement, we made the hasty decision to not take back any of the extra items that had already been given out, and we sincerely apologize for that. This is really weird because they did, so I assume this is a translation issue. After much deliberation, we have decided to continue our investigation into the issue and take measures such as collecting items that have already been used for strengthenings, Saint Quartz, various torches, legendary crystals, Chaldea Dreamfire, etc., in order to return the game to an equitable state for all users. Like I said, I don't think this was like, oh, we've suddenly changed our mind because of public outcry. I don't actually think that's the case. I think they're saying that here, but I think ultimately at the end of the day, that's why they did like the 80%, and they just had to look into this. They weren't sure if they even could remove it from the other 20%. And I think because there was enough public outcry, they were like, yeah, okay, hey, we do need to make this happen. Because I think they did know how to get it out of these people, but they weren't sure that it was going to be logistically worth it. And then they saw everybody kind of being upset about it, and they said, all right, yeah, let's actually pull the trigger. So I will give credit to the complainers on the JP side of things. Again, the actual Japanese-speaking community that was upset over this, for at least getting the developers to change their mind. But I'm also going to point out, chat, the developer was going to be lenient. Mr. 2 was going to give the people that fucking exploited a pass. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that's him just being kind and not wanting to like crack down hard on people. And this is more the community out for blood than anything else. That's how this reads to me. Okay? We sincerely apologize for reversing our previous announcement. Furthermore, if we discover that anyone has taken advantage of this bug to commit a clearly malicious act, we will consider taking action, including freezing their account. Yeah, someone's probably going to get banned over this. And like I said, I'm sure people got thousands of courts out of this, and they basically did it. The developer concept was, as I mentioned before yesterday, it's like, this is not a player issue. This is a developer issue. Okay? And I'm sure the developer looked at this situation, just said, let's not piss everybody off. Just let them have it. It was our mistake. Just let them have it. And then instead, the community started to get angry at the developers. I saw people talking about uninstalling and reinstalling the game to claim it over and over, which is a clear exploit. Yeah, that wasn't the case. You just had to log out. You didn't have to reinstall. JP Pros mad, yeah. Again, we will announce the details of our response at a later date. For the time being, we would like to we would like to confirm the exact situation and carefully consider possible responses. Regarding this oversight, I would like to apologize once again for the lack of consideration that was caused by my shortcomings as the director. So at the end of the day, I feel bad because all of this is blowing back on Mr. 2. When the reality of this is, chat, while this is the developer's fault, probably none of this was Mr. 2's fault. This is like some low level like IT/technician dude going like, hey, fuck, I didn't bug test that properly, and that's what like actually caused the entire situation. I can say, like, to a degree that it may not be fair to necessarily fault like players for taking advantage of the situation. However, I think there's a difference between like, hey, I clicked it, redeemed it, and got like, you know, again, like 170 extra quartz. And hey, I realized this is exploitable, and I started to do it. I started to hammer that exploit in the hopes of getting even more. These are the people that should be punished. Right here. Okay? Not these people. Like the people that just redeemed it once, who the fuck cares? Like, and I think that's how the developer was looking at it, was like, fuck it. Like, yeah, people got a windfall, just let them have it. But people were pointing out, hey, yo, this is not okay. Now, again, like I said, the issue with this end of things is, well, yeah, it's kind of not okay. It's also a single player game, so it doesn't really impact you as an individual. But it is what it is. Well, malicious exploitation should be punished, yeah. Before it looked like they wanted to let it slip. Yeah, and like I said, the reason they wanted to let it slip was because it was their fault. When you ask yourself who is at fault for this, it's first and foremost the devs. Then the exploiters. Okay? So that's why, again, the developers were basically shouldering the burden and saying, yeah, we fucked up. Fine, everybody gets it. But because the rest of the community complained, now both groups are in a shit spot. Because the exploiters are going to be angry at the devs, and the developers are going to have to crack down on the exploiters. I just went straight into grinding for the lotto. Yeah, I don't blame you. Do it once, shame on me. Do it twice, shame on you. I think like even I'm gonna say this, chat. Even something like 5 times or less, it was probably fine. And here's why I say 5 times or less. Because if all you had to do was log out and log back in, yeah, someone could reasonably log in like 5 times in a day, right? Like, fuck. At that point, you could maybe even make it something like 10. And it's like they're probably just sitting there going like, oh, I got another thing in my master missions, and they just click redeem all, and they don't even freaking realize it, right? But yeah, I'm sorry. It's like if you started trying to spam it, and then like you immediately took that to the gotcha, you immediately started like spam leveling units and like popping quartz to refill and stuff like that. Like, you know what you were doing. You know. Is the lotto even still 2 weeks? Yeah, I mean the lotto duration stayed the same. They did not extend the duration. What they did is they gave us the like the max rank nodes like 3 days earlier. It didn't help that some of the exploiters were showing off. Yeah. Yeah. And that's where I'm going to say it's like, chat, there's this other concept called karma. And I'm going to say if you exploit and you flaunt it and you rub it in people's face, karma's a bitch. Like, it makes perfect sense to me, right? Like, not only is everybody going to turn back around and point the finger at you and laugh at you, but now also like, yeah, your account might get banned. And it's like, well, what did you think was going to happen? As I like to say, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. It's just a thing, chat. So, actually, right before stream, I managed to get my second MLB here. So I need to adjust my composition because I have to think about how it is that I wish to do this. Do something like that. Ooh, actually, what's the makeup of the node? It's 132. Wait, does she have any? Node's 213? Yes, it is. Thank you. I'm sorry. Sorry, chat. I'm just checking something real fast. Well, that's spicy. So yeah, I assume we need to do this the other way. So Well, I could. What if I did it this way? Wait. 3. Okay, hold on. I might be able to do this. Sorry, chat. Hold on. I'm having a big brain moment. So yeah, that's brute forcible. I just don't know if this is actually going to be enough firepower. But we'll find out. I don't have MLB as the problem. Dude has too much HP. Yeah, Bhima's a bitch is the best way to say it. Okay, so oh no. Damn. No, there's a problem here, chat. It has to go like this. Oh god, I was like, what the fuck did I just do? I totally just whiffed right there. Uh, 6-slotting this? Yeah, I've been 6-slotting it as well. I'm down a CE right now because I MLB'd. It's still efficient. It's still the equivalent of 6-slotting. I just have a temporary like ability to 5-slot at the same efficiency as 6-slot. Let's see. Oh, right. There's still 30% right there, so I'm 30% overkill. Means I can probably trade my Castoria. Okay. I'll have to see, but like whatever. Send it. Full send. Let's see how much damage I can get out of my Zerktoria here. Do it kill? It do kill. It kill clean. Hella clean. And if I really wanted to, this is also pretty much in reach. So let's see though. It won't kill. I don't think it will. Yeah, I probably need MLB, and it would still need the Castoria NP. So this is still a double NP. Oof. Because Summer Castoria will kill. Oh yeah, Summer Castoria will absolutely kill. Exertoria single target? Yes. And win the bet, you owe me $20? No, because we never bet $20. What are the mats for this node? Is it the LB2 orb thingamajigs? I don't know what you call them. Which I didn't get any. Which, by the way, chat, I am currently at 60 boxes. Or no, call one, thank you, sorry. Okay, one more thinking round, chat. Because that's already just overkill. I don't even have to worry about that. Okay, that should work. This should work, chat. Assuming there's actually enough damage here. Okay. Am I on track? Yeah, I mean, I'm technically fine. Like, even I could say like I've already won the day simply by doing 50 boxes. So if I see this is actually a 6 slot, I'm just currently down at 5 slot because I'm now at 2 MLB. So basically, there's a point when you're getting new drops that you can MLB a CE early, and it's still just as efficient as if you hadn't MLB'd. So what this allows you to do is this allows you to 5 slot instead of 6 slotting, which frees up 1 CE to be used to basically be whatever craft essence you want. So again, it could be something like Black Grail, it could be a 50% CE or something like that in an event where you didn't have one. So there's a lot of good stuff you can do with it. Wait. We have a good single target that could kill that middle wave and buff the party. I think we popped that early because that doesn't matter. Benny? Hey CZ, how's it going? Benny. The issue is Benny would have to be able to do it without using the debuffs on this wave for that to be of real benefit. Trubs is MP5? Yeah, but I'm not refreshing for Trubs constantly. That sounds awful. Don't make me do things like that. Wow. Wait. Wait, hold up. Like, that basically is the basis for another double NP comp right there. I mean, I don't have to use it, so I won't, but like... Ah! Oh, God, it's just... I freaking hate Bhima. Boy too thick. Yeah, what I'm trying to do, chat, is I'm trying to not double NP. That's what I'm attempting to do here, and it's very, very difficult. What NP level are my Trung sisters? Do I have the Trung sisters on JP? That's a good question. If it's finished by carding, it's fine. Not when you're using Oberon. Because then it's like, oh, you don't get the cards and your unit's bricked, and now you have to do the last 200k on your own. Like, oh, fuck. Man. It's Charlie 2.0. It's not as bad as Charlie is. I'm just trying to be more efficient with it, chat. Yeah, I'm debating if there's like... I don't think mine's strong enough, but... Oh, yeah. Thank you, Chad. I totally forgot to talk about Sitonai. Talk about it real quick. So they basically came in. Again, you guys can see this was Sitonai's charge skill. He had a 30% charge, the 80% chance of star regen of 10 critical stars for 3 turns. And again, the 80% chance of increasing her own attack by 20% for 3 turns. And they basically turned around and said, again, each one of these is here, but it now scales up to 100%, so it's guaranteeable, which means these are no longer RNG effects if you lower the skill, which you're going to do it anyways because of the charge. So that's excellent. And then they came in and they also said, hey, this is also going to increase your own damage against dragon and demonic enemies for 3 turns by 30% each. So that is potentially a stackable buff. But either way, it's just, you know, hey, we made this consistent, and now we've added an additional power mod on top of 30%. So I think that's good. Surely Duryotana is the answer to counter Bhima, right? Yeah. Hello, Katana. It's a good buff. It is. It is definitely a good buff. I think Melt still probably out damages her. I haven't seen if you sent me numbers on that, Avalon, but I basically assume that that's the case. I didn't send? Yeah, it's fine. But it's like, this is still just going to make Sitonai a more consistent, more damage dealing unit, and I think that's perfectly fine. I think it gives her, again, some areas to be used in. Oh, in Game of the Year, Astrobot, which was surprising to a lot of people. Yeah, if I had a higher Bride, this could kill. The problem with this is I basically have to take Bride's second skill and put it on herself to have any shot. Wait. Wait, it's so close. They can get there using Takuru's skill. That's my issue. Because that should easily clear, because it's 30% refund needed. So it's the 10% here that's shy. But how does the continuous lotto rolling work with the present box cap? Does it give a warning if you're about to hit the cap? It will simply stop you from being able to roll. So you don't have to worry. It's not going to like delete any of your stuff. It's so close. It's so close to being able to do what I wanted to do. Unless we have another single target that can provide more than 30%. We could do have Benny. Whatever. Let me show off the proof of concept, because I want to see. Oh no. Well, no, I could probably do this, but I don't think I'm gonna have the damage. Is gonna basically be the issue. Because I think there's a level of like there's no amount of setup that makes this function. That's problematic. So I'm just chat pretend this first turn doesn't exist. I'm going to abstain from extra buffs here just to make wrap up on the back end easier. Because I know I'm kind of fine on wave 1. Okay, so let's just raw dog this to see. Because I need an estimate. I think this is only going to do like 70k. I don't think it's even going to be remotely close. Okay, it did more than I thought, but... But not enough, yeah. Well, what I was testing to see is like, can I get it close enough in effect? I think I can probably get it close enough to card. The problem that I have to do with this is I basically have to use her middle skill on her. And I'm gonna cheat basically. So I'm hoping for the Takeru crits here. Because now I'm just focused on getting through the node. There's no way. Bride's doing way too little damage with that. This is more about salvaging the run than anything. 181k is certainly more doable, but it's like... Yeah, if you had a high MP level Bride, that might work. Take advantage of Bride's card, I guess. I like the other Master Portrait. It is funny. So I had extra power mods in there. Okay, finally that made Takeru kill. It took Oberon, Tamamo, and Nero Bride's Sky power mod. Finally killed. We finally solved Takeru. God, that is so dumb. Oh. It's just that's so freaking wild, but at least like I said, proof of concept, that's theoretically possible. My problem, I'm missing an MLB Black Grail because I'm literally one Black Grail short. And I am missing, again, a higher NP level of Bride on JP. Like, if that was my NA Bride could probably do that. My JP1 at NP1 absolutely cannot. Fudge. Now I'm trying to think of if there's another, like, single NP alternative that I can run with. Because, like, worst case scenario, chat, I just go back to doing what the hell I was doing. If your Takeru was 120 and you had a Janako, you could no-plug this. I have a Janako. But my Takeru isn't 120. But wait, nothing... Wait, is Bhima lawful? Is he? He is. How short are we? Like, did you actually run a comp for that? He's also Brunhilde's beloved. Yeah, but there's not a whole lot you can do with that. That would basically involve using, like, Bryn Zerker at that point. The 120 needs carding still? Oh, fuck that. Not a chance. Not a chance. Alright, chat, why don't I just go ahead and show you the comp I was running? That's a good one. Avalon came up with it. Am I blind? I feel like I'm blind. There we go. Right under my finger. Ooh. Might be able to get rid of my Castory Berserker at least out of this. Hmm. Mm. I'm not sure I'll have the firepower necessary for something like this. But we can try. Oh, that's spicy bad because she doesn't have the append. Unlock it? You're right. I don't know why I haven't. Unless I just haven't actually purchased her coins. I have not. I caught a glimpse of Good Civ. Yeah, like that's what I was thinking about using. The only problem is she's not going to gain the benefits of any of the arts up. So that's what I was thinking about doing this. Do I have MP2 of her? Ew. I'm just trying to spare my Castoria Berserker because I know she works. I think my Vlad's only in P2. Or in P1? Yeah, in P1. Take Draco then? My Draco's certainly strong enough. But yeah, okay, we can try that. Because basically, I already tried running Draco in the node earlier today, and the issue that I had was I didn't have enough charge for Draco, essentially. The thing that hurts Draco as well is the fact that she needs to do waves 2 and 3. If it were 1 and 3, that would be better for her. He's just shy on that, Whatever, let's run it. I don't care. I'm spending too much time thinking about this and not actually running. You don't need to charge Draco for the second one if you have MLB. That's true. However, ooh, I can cheat. I can cheat. 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 Uh-oh. Oh, no, it's still just shy. God damn it. It's still just shy. Like I said, this is the issue with Draco. Almost, yep. Do you want to do it without swap? What do you mean? I would like to not have to double MP on the final wave. Swap's not the biggest issue. Double MP is what really adds time. Like, again, I can 6-slot this. I'm trying to be more efficient. I'm being greedy, chat. Actually, fuck it. Let's try to pre-card and see if I can get it that way. Oh, god damn it. Oh well. Don't S1 Castoria wave 1. Did I have overkill? I just don't remember if I did. It's like I can obviously do this. Pop that all turn 1. It will require that. He also didn't use Takeru's skill 2. Mine doesn't need it. Can't scuff that run? Not really. Oh, right. She gets 30%. I'm thinking she gets 20%. Okay. So I probably didn't need to use that there then. Well, I think this is still fine. That's spicy, but that's getting a little close. So confused. The lead to you just can't turn and walk away. Hard to say what it is I see in you. Wonder if I'll always be with you. Gil's been sitting there in the back line the whole time. So this is still a double MP. It's a double MP with a unit that's not my Castoria Berserker. Therefore, I am saving Bond. Like, that's the only difference there. You can see my Draco absolutely slaughters Bhima. The issue with Draco is the refund. But yeah, so this is another way of doing an effect. Oh, ooh, but if I have to switch CE when I get a drop, this will no longer work. Because she is barely having enough damage there on wave 2. Let's test it out without Castoria's refund here. I'm worried that this will somehow screw Takeru out of enough charge. Use Mystic Cut skill 1 on wave 2. Yeah, I could probably get away with that. Given that she did like 1.1 mil, so that's probably absolutely free at that point. Yep, don't touch anything. Just go burr. Go burr. I also, chat, I like to min-max the comp to the point of like, if I don't have to press a skill, I will not press a skill. Like, it's like I was explaining, like Takeru's skill 2 does not matter technically. Okay, so that's still lowballed. So that's definitely a concern. Lazy much, Cad? Oh, listen, the other version of this comp is so good that I don't have to use the Mystic Code. Like, that's what I love about it. Enough to prove it's all for you. Hard to say. Hard to say. Hard to say. Let's try without it. So again, proof of concept. I have not popped the Mystic Code or Takeru's skill 2. Should be fine without. Yeah, it is. It's because my Takeru is, again, it's like it's NP5 level 100. It's honestly overkill. Like, Takeru is close to being able to just do the node on their own, but for some odd reason I can't get it to like actually do this. Just thinking if there's another way I can get around this. Because this is gonna force me to pop the Mystic Code turn 2. I hate that. Hate using Mystic Codes in turn 2 because I always forget to do it. That's absolutely something that will lead to a scuff. I hate this 90++. Yeah. It's definitely like, it's actually a sneakily dickish node because it's Lancers, so a rash doesn't work, so party rotation gets difficult. Habitrot herself doesn't really work without a lot of devoted buffs on wave 1. So party rotation kind of goes out the window. The middle wave is also way too much health for any of the single target party rotators. And then the also again Lancer, so like Tutankhamun's absolutely worthless here. And then Bhima himself is sky traded when a lot of the sabers are Earth. And then in particular, also really only has sky trait and divinity that can actually really be exploited for in most cases. So like, it's very difficult for the sabers to actually do much of anything against Bhima. So it's just kind of a crappy like lineup, and it feels like it's done on purpose to incentivize Lohi. I think it's fine. Someone like Lohi's also really, really big help. It's a challenging node. I'm not saying that it is like impossible to overcome. It's more of a challenge if you're trying to like 6-slot like I am. That's the issue with it. It's like, oh yeah, do you have Lohi? If you do, the node's actually really easy. Do you not? Well, have fun. That's gotta go on him. The other issue here is I'm not getting, like, due to the order of operations, I'm not getting Caster Gill's buffs on, like, in turn 1. Which with the other variant of the comp, I do. So this is a way more, like, convoluted mess. I may just go back to using my Castoria Berserker. Lohi can do the node. Lohi can be a part of the solution. Even with Black Grail, I'm not doing fine. Yeah. Yeah, like, so to me, and forgive me for saying this, but just because Lohi can do this node does not make this a good node. Like, in fact, Lohi, no. Well, there we go, chat. And we're on to Bond Grails again. But yeah, like, basically, the quote-unquote pay-to-win unit should not be considered for, like, hey, the viability of the node. In the sense of, like, I'm fine with them making the node tailored to that unit, but they should not be the only solution to the node. If they are, the game actually becomes pay-to-win at that point. So that's actually a mark against the node, not for it. Like, there needs to be other solutions that don't involve Lohi so that you're not feeling pressure to have to roll, right? Like, again, I've often gotten on to like other gotcha games for doing that sort of thing. So it's like, I really don't want to see that happen in FGO. And it's not, like, at least not in this case. Let's see. I still have 29 bot girls. There's a number of comps that are for unique units. I mean, I don't even care about the unique unit aspect. Like, again, if it was double Castoria was the only way to solve this, I would do double Castoria. I will certainly use other units if I have the opportunity, though. But yeah, I think me go back. Me go back because muscle memory and it just faster. Yeah, I'm just... Okay, that should all be good. Smooth 6 slot. This is a smooth 6 slot for me too. I think chat has been like looking at this and thinking like I'm struggling with it, and it's like I'm not. I'm trying to cheat basically. Like that's the honest to God truth of the matter on this. Okay, so hating is bad. There you go, chat. This comp just got easier because I have double MLB. Just experimenting, yeah. Like, because I'm in a temporary scenario where I can technically use any craft essence I want, I wanted to see if I could get away with something. Basically, due to the structure and difficulty of the node and its, like, requirements, I can't. Like, if I had... like, again, like an MLB Black Grail, yeah, we could maybe talk about that, but not with the way things currently are. Since I can do plugless 6 slot on the 90 plus, so what's your comp for that? Like, the issue I was having with that one is, like, trying to do a refund-based comp on that was kind of nasty. Lohi and her moon requirements? I mean, that's not bad. See, chat? Easy. I don't have to use the plug suit attack. I don't have to use the carrier's second skill. And everything just flows. I do the majority of the presses turn 1 and we're good. This is the issue. It's the double MP. Summer Da Vinci? No, what you probably want to do... Well, wait. Plus Summer Valks? I wouldn't do Summer Valks. I would do Nemo. Because Nemo is actual damage bonus. Assuming you have him online. Sorry, Nemo Santa. Because that's what I was running with earlier. But yeah, I didn't think about Fragment of 2004. But like... I don't know. Like, to a degree, I don't mind using Plug Suit that much, right? Like, it's one of those deals where it's like... Plug Suit, now that they've like sped up the game, like it's not how Plug Suit used to be, where it's this like super slow thing and nobody wanted to do it. Obviously, if I don't have to, that's great, but like it ultimately is like not a huge deal if I have to use a Plug Suit. It's a lot better than it's a lot better than like Oberon where he bricks the unit, or double NP, any unit that kills themselves. Like basically Plug Suit's relatively fast once you get the muscle memory for it down. Thank you for the 17, Sleepy. I am having an awesome day. It is the weekend, and I get to just sit here and Degen grind, so I'm happy. Plug's fine? Yeah. I think the argument against Plug is probably best served by saying what Plug Suit's real benefit is it gives you 3 more skills to use. Or in the case of Buster, 6, but like... essentially, Plug Suit is really good for leveraging more damage, but it's also bad in the sense that this is what will add time, is sitting there and like pressing the skills all over again. You can just like blitz through them, but ultimately it is a concern with Plug Suit. Again, I think it's like at the end of the day, most people like this. It's like a first world problem type deal, right? I popped the Mystic Code buff. I don't know why. Because it's like, if you're like barely scraping by, like some of you are complaining, like, hey, like this node sucks. I'm struggling to do the node even with things like Black Grail. It's like, yeah, you're just going to use whatever the hell you're going to use to get the job done. But if you like are in a lesser node or you just have a plethora of options, that's where like these sorts of considerations come into play. I wonder if I could still 3-turn if I switch out Kagatoria with Zerktoria. Like for this, probably like the advantage that Zerktoria has here is that she has anti-divine damage as her overcharge. This is also why, if you guys notice, even if I don't really need it, I'm still popping Zerktoria's skill 2 on herself on wave 3. Because it's just it's free real estate, baby. It essentially is the entire reason to do it. Me when I meet Bhima now because of the node. Bhima! Yes. You're basically pulling the car now. Got my 4th Ascension in PoE, the final boss of the trial is insane. I still haven't beat the first one, but like, honestly, I don't like Trial of the Sekimas. I hope they switch that, because that's like, oh, you can't get hit at all. Well, fuck me. It doesn't feel like, especially on the quote-unquote easy mode, that it rewards enough stuff. Oh, I didn't pop that. Whoops. You can do Ultimatum, but that's worse. Yeah, we'll see. I haven't done any of them, so I can't really say, like, oh, yeah, I know exactly, like, everything about all of the Ascendancy trials. Get some honor resistance relics, makes it smoother. So, so is it the case that it's like you're not supposed to clear it the first try, and instead it's more like a roguelite where like you go in there and you collect like things that actually help you get further each time? If that's the case, I didn't realize that's what they were going for with it. Okay. Yeah, like I knew it had like roguelike features in it, in the sense of like you have like the branching paths and you can choose where to go. I didn't realize that it was also okay, so chat, roguelike versus roguelite. You might not hear the change in my voice if you're not a native English speaker, but this is complete random RNG each run. This can be that, but it can also have carryover mechanics, aka it's a roguelike that you can progress. Each run you get better. So if what you're saying is true, that's a roguelite. Where, yeah, it's like Hades, where it's like, okay, each run of Hades, you end up stacking buffs that make you better. So, versus a true roguelike, every run is right back to ground zero. There's no progression. You getting 6-slot Zerktoria and Castoria? I don't want to do that. So like finding one would be difficult to begin with, but like at that point you're using casters and a lancer node. It's like, yeah, you can do that, but there's probably a better solution, right? But I assume that still requires a double kill on wave 2, which is no better than what I'm currently doing at that point. I was sitting there just trying to think, I was like, what are they actually doing with that composition? Oh, fingers. Use finger. Alright, chat, I'll say I Scuff I Gift is live now. It still does, yes, so it makes no difference, yeah. Yeah, it's the big thing, is I'm just trying not to double NP on the final wave. I'm confident and like this comp. I just wish I didn't have to double NP. So I've been trying to like find a way around it, but like if the comp is too much of a pain in the ass, there's not much value in it at that point. Because then I think this is a really good idea, guys. Like essentially, oh, Henya's playing Astrobot tonight. That's hilarious. Sorry, I just was noticing that on the side. Essentially, it doesn't really matter as long as you can get the comp or the node done, right? But at the end of the day, there is something to be compared with speed. While it's not the biggest of deal for most people, if you can say do the maximum efficiency of the lesser node significantly faster than you could do the 90++, it's a thing. Like at that point, you might want to run the 90+ instead. Oh, yeah, my brain's off. Oh, no, it's fine. That was why I was asking, though, was for that clarification. Emergent stuff for huge buffs, yeah. What? Faber. Art destroys it for me in an A. Oh, in an A. Yeah, sorry, we were talking JP. Hey, I need to see if my arc actually works in the 90++ on JP. Or sorry, on NA. Yep, that was almost bad. NA my console, right? I need to figure out something that's actually like efficient for the 90++ node. I have a comp that does it. The only reason I want something efficient is because I actually want like a speed comp for it, because I don't want to waste extra time on an A since I have 500 boxes I have to do on JP. Like it's less about like, oh hey, I actually want to like I'm struggling to do the node. It like I'm doing the node just perfectly fine. It's more like I just want to be able to run that node fast. Get NA done, get out of there, get back to JP for the time being. Which, by the way, chat, they did do the social media campaign for LB7 today on Twitter. So it's coming. You guys are literally getting Lost Belt in like 12 days? You're doing 8 turns? Jesus. No, thank you. I know my super arcuate can do the 90++ on an A right now. Yeah, that's Burning was basically telling me his can. Which I think with all the MLB like charge Cs, I can probably do it. Because what I can do is I can brute force a Oberon variant with plug suit. But I don't know. Where is Nito Alter? Somewhere. But Cat, it's a great comp. No, it's not. I assume it's a great comp because it's allowing you to use a bunch of your waifus. Normal autos, I'm using normal comps. Otherwise, I don't care if not 3-turn. Like I said, the only reason I care about the 3-turning on NA is because I just want to get back to JP. Like, so the way I've started to be about lottos in general, like uncapped lottos chat, is that because we have a lot of time and because farming is so efficient, I prefer to not breakneck it, but therefore I try to be like prescient at all times. Like I try to constantly be farming, but like casually, if that makes any sense. So it's like, it's not me sitting there constantly doing it. It's me like doing something else and then doing that. That saves so much brain power, so much like burnout from actually occurring. So it's like, it's always sitting in front of me, always available, but I'm not constantly minding it. And that makes it all the much easier. But easy on NA, I'm kind of struggling on it with my Karna, Voyager, and 2 Scotties. So, I mean, the comp that I was gonna run was basically double Koyan, Oberon, and my NP5 Arcuid. So like that's not going to be easy for a lot of other people to do either. But the logic behind it is because I have MLB of the actual like currency CE to have the 50% charge, that I could basically just start out and have like the guaranteed 50%. I could actually like probably slap Oberon's 50% and then kind of like have it like an open-ended comp where it's like the 2 Koyans are going to be what rotates instead. Basically turn 2, just go ahead, pop the remaining 50% charges for Koyan. Actually, it doesn't freaking matter. I could do that on turn 1. So I guess I could still start out with double Koyan. And then literally turn 3 is just the singular 100% from Arcuid at that point. But that only works because I'm not starting from 0. And like I said, I don't know if that'll have enough damage. I just assume it will because it's Arcuid plus Oberon. Ugh. And a support 50% charger? Yeah, that works. But I think the benefit is the NA node is Berserkers, so you can just kind of find something that like anything that works. You don't have to like worry too much about it. Actually, in that regard, what the hell am I doing? I could probably be using my bunny. Why didn't I think of this? I'm smarter than this. Surely I could be sitting there and just carding everything to death with bunny. That'd be so much faster. 1,000,000 HP, who cares? Will you cover a certain fight in LB7? I have only 100 plus servants for it. I'm a bit nervous. We've talked about this, about like putting out some sort of primer, some sort of prep primer, but like honestly, while I can do that, you don't have a lot of time to prepare left. So like, I'm gonna say again, like with Carnimus, like get every unit you can online, particularly more powerful units, like units that you think you're gonna be able to like pop off with. But will we cover it? Yeah, I want to say if we do a like a preview slash like again, I'll try to be as spoiler free as possible, right? But like if we do something like that, I will certainly talk about that fight. Rascal Cad does not dream of Bunny Senpai. No, I do. I wasn't like chat, this is how little I've thought about the NA90++ node. I like just ran in there and threw in Artoria, saw my Artoria was a little bit lesser damaged, looked at the end enemy, saw that it had chaotic, threw in my Lartoria instead. My Lartoria still isn't quite doing enough damage, so now I'm like, okay, I need a better comp. But that's literally how little I've thought about it. I have not like actually put any effort into crafting a comp for the node. So like, I definitely need to do that, but I've just been primarily focused on JP and trying to get a good like comp for this, because this node has been a little like wonky in that regard. And I was like determined to find something to make me more efficient in this node, which unfortunately I cannot. I have min-maxed my efficiency at this point. Level 120 Saber Lily can do damage now. Well, she could do damage before, but yeah. My Saber Okitan easily clears this node. Maybe with Black Grail. Because Saber Okitan's not going to have any like damage bonus for this. Ever since Seal came out, he changed. No, it's funny because I was talking to Ash earlier today, and he was telling me he was doing Seal for I don't think it was this node. I think it was the 90+. And I talked to him about it. And I was just saying, like, you know, again, not that he like couldn't use Seal, but just that like, hey, if you're running Seal for that node, because this is a lotto, Seal is not the fastest clear by any stretch of the imagination. So that is like taking you more time than just using an AoE. But like, yeah, I think like Seal is definitely viable in a lot of nodes, but like you don't need to take her into every single one, and it's not necessarily advantageous for you to do so. Why did I pop the Mystic Code buff? Force of habit. Do you think they'll give NA the amount of bond till the next bond level update? I don't know. Honestly, that's a relatively minor quality of life. Like, I'm sure some people really like it, but like for me, it's not saving me from like still having to like micromanage it. It's just all it does. It just means like I don't have to go into the unit to see what they're currently at. But to be fair, chat, for us vets, like, don't even look at this. You learn to eyeball this shit. You're like, okay, my Casgill, he's still got like probably 5/6 of the way to go through that. My Castoria Berserker, that's actually smaller than it appears. It's very minuscule. This is like 1/10 of the way to the next thing. Right? Like, that's what I'm saying. It's like, I learned to just kind of judge that shit at a glance. So like, I know when someone's getting close to bonding up. Muscle memory, yeah. She's 120 and I was setting up with the Dropsy. I still don't feel like she would easily clear. Like, certainly with cards, right? But like, you sure you got the calculations on that right? Like, maybe she's Earth and I'm not remembering that, but... Oh, no, she's man, isn't she? Oh, yeah, maybe then. Almost. Almost, chat. Almost did the wrong MP. Can leave like 24k. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is like the reason that I was assuming that to not work is because I have tried like to brute force the node with Takeru, who has damage bonus. I have tried to brute force the node with my Artoria, who is also 120. Like, I kind of have an idea at this point about how the node will function for people. Okay. It would save me from going insane after thinking I should be finished for a handful of runs rather than 30 plus. Yeah, I think like where it actually does matter for that sort of thing is going to be on the like on the Bond Grail end of things, where like it's so fractional and like you can't even see anything anymore, and it's like, oh, but it's actually like still like 200,000 bond, because like the issue at play there is that it's like over 1 million bond for everything. Okay, I was like, why did that not undo the press there? Oh, I need to... Yeah, I keep forgetting. I actually should be targeting him in the middle. I keep not putting the arts on him, but it doesn't matter. The Castoria Berserker's that strong. To be fair, 24k with a quick comp is not a problem since everyone will crit. Yeah, but remember, the calculation there was also including a level 100 version of the C. Like, don't get me wrong, is that a problem to have to like level 100 something in a lotto? Not really, but I won't do it unless I have to. Like, none of my comps have been close enough that the level 100 would have been the like difference either. Like, if you guys want, I can show you the Artoria variant of this. I could do the Salter in 2 years. Yeah, Salter apparently can handle the node, which is actually... It's a little bit surprising to me due to the odd structure of the node, but... Like, again, it's a 2-1 node, but that is precisely the minimum that Salter needs to function. It has to be exactly 2-1 at least for her to have enough. She uses Summer Kuro and a Pen 5, yeah, which is also a nasty requirement. Like, Avalon mentioned that to me earlier today. He's like, oh, you can Salter it with Kuro. And I was like, nope. Like, I'm good. I'll double NP. Fuck that. It's like, don't make my brain hurt. If I remember correctly, MP3 was fine. I need to look at how how many copies I have of Salter on JP, because like everyone keeps being like, wait, you don't have MP5 on JP, and I'm like, I don't think I do. I don't think I ever, like, I think I have like 1 or 2 on JP, but I don't think I have higher than that. Because again, like my JP, I have not been a like big whale a lot of the time. Like, my JP account was meant to be the free-to-play account. I have rolled some of them to NP5, but Salter is also one where it's like, it's difficult to get her on an advantageous banner unless Salter is just your end goal, which is perfectly fine. But she has come back usually at times that are bad for me to roll individually on her. Issue with the comp, though, would be the party cost. Yeah, I don't know if you guys glanced into VIP earlier, Avalon, but like I was sitting there working on a comp and I had a really good idea for one, and it was the party cost that fucked me, and I was like, God damn it. But it happens. That was the Habitrot sacrifice variant, and it did not work. Habitrot just, like, again, and maybe if you had a grailed one, but like Habitrot on her own is not powerful enough to handle wave 1 here. Wait a minute. So I just had an epiphany, chat, and because I just had that epiphany, there's going to be a drop this run. Let's see. Boom. Yeah. I had to stop and think there for a second. So wait, so I can make Hapatrock kill with a Black Grail, but is that going to improve Takeru's situation? I could probably do the Oberon Tamamo variant. Maybe. Well, we don't have Bride. Oh wait, no, because I can use the third support if I do that. Because I can have her kill herself. Scuff? No, that's not Scuff. We're still perfectly fine. Behold. Funny enough, my JP account is free to play because I can't buy Sanct Quartz on it as well. Lost my savings, ooh. So wait, so it needs to be a 4-star support or lower instead of Bride is the issue. Which 4-star support's going to let me leverage the most damage? Well, sorry. I know the answer to that, but cheater? That wasn't cheating. Okay, hold on, chat. Hold the front door. So let's use this. Ah, perfect. Perfect. So but we're getting old with these song requests. Wait. What? Son of a Ah. So it's got to be a 3-star support. That limits things. Let's see. We've got Para. We've got yeah, Shufu. Test this with Shufu. Okay, boom, boom. How do I want to do this? Oh, I hope Plug Suit was on this. I actually didn't pay attention to that. Thank God. Okay. It's a girl, my lord, in a flatbed Ford, slowing down to take a look at me. Don't say maybe. We may win, but we will never be here again. All right, come on, Habitrot. I believe in you. You can do it. Don't we have a Shufu simp in the community? Yeah, actually a couple. Even with a black girl. God damn it, Habitrot. Oh. Tempted to try out a rash instead. Okay, so let's see. So we've actually got a lot of charge here. We definitely want that on. And I think we do that. And we pray to God. Ah, no. Do I count that as a scuff for chat? Yeah, why not? I shouldn't, because this is me testing something, but I will. Chat hasn't gotten a scuff out of me in a while. There we go. Ah, congratulations, Oak. Okay. Apparently I've gifted zero subs to my own channel. Actually, it didn't matter anyways. That I didn't even need to pull that back because it put the arts down on the wrong enemy, but the arts down happens oh no, okay, it does happen before damage. Never mind. I've been an idiot. Oh my god. Chat, this does not count as a second scuff. Good god, though. Like even with Bhima, or sorry, even without Bride there, that's still kind of ridiculous. There's so many stacking things. The damage isn't there, sadly. Yeah, it may have been like with the one time that we killed Bhima outright that was a high damage roll and this was a low damage roll or something. It does because you failed Lamau? No. Proof of concept, chat. And that's why Bhima went to sleep there. This is not going to kill him this turn, though. Not unless Oberon gets a lucky pair of crits, and he did not. Alright, who kills first? Karu or Bhima? It's gonna be... Yeah, no, I'm just gonna... Putting the actual effective card third's gotta be way better. Oh boy. Oh, there you go. The taunt wore off. Bhima is so fucking buff. It's pretty wild. Like, they definitely, to me, it feels like they almost went like 100k overkill on this. Like, they could have still achieved all of their goals and left him like 100k less, and it would have still frustrated the ever-loving fuck out of people. Yeah, so without the ability to like leverage a higher damage dealer support, it's just not a thing, I don't think. By the way, what MP levels your Summer City and Hephaestion? Summer City? I have no idea. I think in P5, but let me double check. She's Pretender, yeah? Yeah. Wait, this isn't the summer one. Hold on, brain. No, foreigner. Wait. Huh? Moon Cancer. God, that's right. Everything was a freaking Moon Cancer from that event. No wonder I'm having a hard time remembering it. Oh, only 3 out of 5. And you wanted to know Hephaestion. Oh, we could have checked Hephaestion earlier. I think she's only like 2 or 3. Yeah. Actually, let's check Salter while we're at it. I think mine's in P2. Yep. All right, that shit don't work. Back to the original. Oh, fuck. That's supposed to be a Castoria. This is gonna get hella interesting now. Let's do that. Let's see if I can brute force this. Oops. That still might not be a scuff. This is gonna get spicy though. I think I probably need an arts chain involving Takaru here. And I didn't really get that. I might be able to pre-card. Yeah, I say pre-card. I may be low damage here. Oh no, never mind. This won't matter. I have plenty. So we'll go with the highest possible damage card allotment. Buster Quick Arts? No. I basically what I realized there is that I have plenty of charge no matter what I do. It's the one benefit to taking Oberon. Uh-oh, chat. Uh-oh. Okay. That's got to go there. Keiru's situation is not significantly different, so that has to go there. And then that. Scuff number 2? Not at all, baby. This sucker's gonna be clean, chat. Behold. Oh, yeah, 462. She's got this easy. Without, like, because again, I don't have a Castoria here, but the Oberon's more damage output, so it doesn't matter. Mineral? No, like, the issue there is my Takeru actually dealt more damage. So yeah, that was way overkill. I did not need to run that variant of the comp. This is why you take the support Castoria instead. It's just enough. See, chat, I make farming entertaining by being purposefully stupid. I say purposefully, but honestly, I don't commit half these mistakes when I'm not on stream because I just go like, oh yeah, I know what I'm doing, and I just pay attention to what I'm doing, and then I don't have problems. Versus like on stream, I get busy talking to you guys, and I just totally lose my train of thought and like do dumb shit. Okay. Chat, what was your favorite announcement from the Game Awards yesterday? For those of you that watched and even those of you that checked in afterwards. Like, which thing are you looking forward to le most? Definitely Witcher 4. Hello, Peaceful. How's it going? Between Elden Ring thing or Split Fiction? I have no idea how to feel about the Elden Ring thing. 7 Rebirth coming to PC? Yeah, I mean, if you've been waiting on it, it's perfectly fine. Like, I still need to sit down and actually, like, play it. Like I said, I've got too big of a backlog of games at this point that I need to get around to. Though, to be fair, 7 Rebirth did kind of, like, annoy me with... At least that first zone that I was in, the open world was like annoying to traverse because you kept getting stuck on like everything. Like it felt like it should have been, and I really mean this, like it felt like it actually should have been like smoother to run over because like every little like crag and rock you would get stuck on. And it was like kind of wild that it was semi annoying to play rather than like, hey, this is a fun, cool experience. Like, it actually detracted from the experience. So, like, I'm surprised they didn't catch that sort of thing in, like, internal testing. That someone just didn't go, like, hey, this feels shit. But that in and of itself is, like, I assume that's just a small portion of the game. So, like, that's not gonna, like, truly impact the game. That was just something that stuck out for me in the, like, initial hours of playing it. From my understanding, people that have gripes with 7 Rebirth, it's mostly the story side of things. Because again, like you have people that just like they wanted 7 Rebirth to be a actual like remake and not a like reimagining type deal. Yeah, up another ticket, sure. They probably only followed the path in internal testing. I think a lot of the issue with internal testing is that like it's twofold, right? So either you don't have a robust enough staff, and so like something doesn't get caught, or the issue is deemed to be not important enough, aka they have a list of issues and it goes like it's like a triage list. It goes in order of importance. Like, we have to fix this. This will brick the main storyline versus, hey, this just doesn't feel fun, right? Like, instead, someone else is going to just go like, okay, you know, like we'd like to fix that, but it's too low on the priority list. Guys, a veteran at FromSoft. Oh yeah, and I'm sure like Miyazaki like still like checks in on projects like that and stuff. So like that sort of thing, I don't think it'll be like a shit game or anything like that. It just might not be the traditional Souls fans' cup of tea. But to be fair, that's like when you look at all of FromSoft's offerings, you have Bloodborne, you have Sekiro, and each one of those two is a different style. You have Dark Souls, you have Demon Souls. Even those two have a little bit of minute differences. And then you have Elden Ring, and Demon Souls and Dark Souls all play similar. Sekiro and Bloodborne play differently. And then, you know, of course, you have like the entire Armored Core series, which basically has nothing to do with the others. So naturally, like as they come out with a new game and it has all these mechanics, and some of the mechanics seem to be shared from the other games, who knows? Like it may play like simultaneously all of the games and none of them at the same time. Armored Core, yeah. But yeah, it's like I'm hopeful for it. I don't think it's going to be a bad game. I don't know what to think about it type deal. Where it's like I said, and I know some people are like, I can't believe he just said that yesterday, but like the Elden Ring game to me seems like it's FromSoft's Fallout 76. I know that comes with a bad connotation. The reason I say that is it looks to be like it's FromSoft attempting to have like it's a proof of concept, but it's also going to be them testing that like net code and stuff, and them trying to make seamless co-op actually like doable in their engine. So I think that's what they're using this project for, but it doesn't mean it's going to be like some phoned in trash project. It just means that like this to them, it's a way of like giving the players what they wanted while also like vamping things up on their end, like testing stuff and making sure that it actually works. And so then like, yeah, who knows, maybe future FromSoft titles will all have seamless co-op, which would be freaking amazing. So like I'm all for it. Even if this game somehow ended up being like gutter trash, it would still be like great in that regard if it allowed them to like progress on. When every run is like a roguelike, yeah. Well, that's like, so that's the cool part about Hades, right? So Hades, like whenever you play Hades or Hades 2, you kind of like have in your brain this like, I want to do this. But because it's a roguelike game, you don't get the exact thing that you needed. So you have to like make something work. And it gets you out of your comfort zone. It gets you to try new things, but it also gets you to be adaptable. And it's really a good thing for a gamer to like have that adaptable mindset, because you start to like go like, okay, now I'm forced to use this. What will synergize with this? And you start looking for things, you start forming connections. And what you start to realize is this sort of like meta knowledge then at that point of like, hey, these interactions between these types of buffs pair really well. Whereas like you may have thought that that thing was like trash and that you never wanted to ever have like that type of buff, but then you found out, oh wait, this actually works really well with this other type of buff. and it begins to change your mentality on things as well. He went, Miyazaki, sorry, I want to try this. And Miyazaki went, okay, let me see. And we will see. Short answer, I wanted to make it. Yeah, but I think that's cool. Like, I think that's fine. And I like, again, I put the thing in gaming news earlier today where they were talking about how it's not going to be like a live service game, which is good, because I think there were some concerns over like, hey, is this going to be their like multiplayer live service game? Because people, I guess in the trailer it's shown that there's like, oh, there's a ring shrinking around an area, kind of like a battle royale. So people were thinking like, oh no, this is going to be like some like spin-off like live service thing that's going to be microtransacted to all hell. But yeah, it sounds like that's not the case at all, and that it's just them putting in new mechanics that they want players to like, you know, deal with as part of the like to me, honestly, it feels more like it's going to be like a boss rush style game than anything else. So like, we'll see what they try to do with it, because it does look like they're trying to put new and interesting like mechanics in that regard, things that they haven't done in a Souls like before. That's no problem, Lemonade. Have a good one, bud. Apparently the guy based the playstyle on a lot of speedrun content. Yeah, and I mean, at that point, at least it'll make it like a really cool like stream game for some people, right? But yeah, it's like, if it's speedrun designed, then that absolutely will not cater to everybody. So like, it'll make it more of a niche title within the fandom. But I think, like, again, I have no issue with niche titles. Like, I think it's cool to see a developer experiment with things. I think that's honestly, what the industry is missing for a lot of this. Like, developers are so afraid to experiment because if their game fails, they get fired and the company just doesn't have their back. Like, it's like, oh, you lost the shareholders, 0.001% of their net worth. They are now angry. You must die. Like that's how it feels like the mentality is at this point in the gaming industry. So I think having, studios like FromSoft, Larian, and several of the others that kind of are out there kind of towing the line in the like non-standard development process, which sucks because the way that these studios are developing used to be the old standard. That was how games got developed in the past. But it's now no longer the standard because it's been supplanted with all this like extra corporatism. And it's basically, again, I think at this point causing problems for the industry. So like seeing them be on the forefront of like, yeah, this is what a studio should be like, and watching how successful they have been is awesome. I love it. So I hope that they continue to experiment and take risks and do fun and interesting stuff. Beating up on the old Dark Souls bosses with the Elden Ring jump. Yeah, that's going to be like, there's going to be some abusable crap in there, right? Like, publishers also don't want to take a chance on anything that's not proven money-making concepts. Yep. And that's why, like, so in modern gaming, in modern publishing for like books and movies, chat, look at what's the most successful in all of these areas. So take video games, books, and movies. Who is the most successful at the current moment company for each? Allow me. For video games, the most successful publisher? Steam. For books, the most successful publisher? Amazon. For movies, the most successful publisher? Chat might fight with me on this one, but this is the truth. Sorry. There we go. It's Netflix. They are all decentralized platforms to a degree. They are all like Netflix, I think, is the worst example of this because it's by far the least decentralized. But in the case of both Amazon and Steam, what do you have to do to publish a game? What do you have to do to publish your book on either of those two platforms? Nothing. Like it's very easy. There's no real barrier to entry. You can do it as long as you can get your product on that site. You can sell it. There's nobody that's going to be like, I don't like your idea. You can't do that. That's what makes those platforms so successful. And the reason is because these other platforms that are out there that compete with Steam and Amazon and Netflix and stuff like that, like it's basically they're the old school mentality on that stuff of like, I'm Mr. Big Shot Publisher Man. You need to do what I say. And that's a bad idea. I don't like that. I'm not going to help you publish your product. Like, yeah, there's an upside to it. The upside is if they're going to help you publish it, they're usually going to help you produce it, aka they're going to help you secure funding and stuff like that. But with the old publisher model, way too few things actually got published. Whereas now with the newer models, the decentralized models, it's like a free market. Everybody's kind of able to just like put their ideas forth and may the best idea win. And that's what's actually kind of working for them. Again, it's why like you started to see the power breaking, especially in video games, more towards indies now, because the big publishers are the problem. And where the actual like ingenuity and talent is now beginning to come from are the independent studios and developers. Like, I think that much is obvious, at least over the past couple of years here. You get a lot higher percentage of crap thrown at Amazon, though. Filter mechanisms do have some value. Oh, yeah. I'm not going to argue that, right? Like, and the same can be said on Steam. There are so many, like, crap games on Steam that you would never want to play, right? Like, so it's a little bit, it's just on the consumer to be like, hey, let me look at reviews. Let me do my due diligence, right? And let me make sure that it's a good product. But, chat, let me ask you this. Do you find with Steam that you have a more or less transparent experience for what a game is going to be like than you would for any traditional publisher outside of Steam? Easily much more. Yeah, like I'm not going to say that like Steam's perfect, right? I'm also not going to say that like, you know, like every other like publisher that's publishing a game not on Steam is bad, right? What I'm going to say is that like, let's say Sony is producing a game. Let's say Nintendo is producing a game. Let's say Xbox is producing a game. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Will the game be good because they're publishing it? Like, do you have this confidence in the publisher because it is a more centralized version that the product will be good? Does it actually have a relationship with the quality of the product? Is there a correlation there between, hey, you've gone to one of the big AAA publishers, surely their game's good, right? This is an interesting quandary. And the reason I say this is because, if anything, with the AAA publishers, the issue that you have is that they have a AAA budget. What does that mean? Well, that means that that could be a AAA development for the game. This could mean, you know, again, like having a AAA budget could mean more features in the actual game, right? It could also mean like more trailers. Whoa. That looked like crap. And it could also mean like more support. Right? Like there's your upsides. Here's the other problem though. The AAA budget is two sides to the same coin. Well, yes, the game might have more features because it's got a bigger budget. It could also just have more bloat, more waste. Instead of having more trailers, you could have deceptive marketing. From an agency that knows how to sell a lie. And instead of having more support, you could have tone deaf self infatuated devs that don't listen to you. So this is the issue with it, right? Like, I'm not saying that everything that comes out of a AAA publisher is going to be on this end. There's certainly games that will be on this end. But how many times in recent memory have we seen the right side more than the left? How many times have we seen more waste? Like a big company like, say, like Ubisoft, where, oh God, they spent billions on this game. They had so many studios that they opened, and then they forgot to put in the ability to board enemy ships. And you're like, what? Like, how does this get missed? How is this not within the scope of the project? Who decided this? How did you spend this much money and you didn't do the most basic fucking thing that you would expect in a pirate game? Right? So that's an example. Or deceptive marketing can be like, man, bro, these trailers, they look so good. And then nothing is how it actually is in the game. It was all a pre-rendered cinematic, and what's actually in the game is clunky, broken, or like the things that they claimed are just not even there. Because again, they have this big old marketing like department that's helping them produce, you know, cutting edge graphics to sell the game, even though the game itself is not that good of a product. And then, oh man, the example I will always go back to for this, for the tone deaf, self-infatuated devs. That's right, Blizzard, come on down. Diablo 3, when it launched, the Blizzard devs made fun of the Torchlight devs by basically saying, oh, but our game sold over 6 million copies already in the first week. The hilarious part is like half of those 6 million copies got immediately returned because of how gutter trash Diablo 3 was on release. So the devs were sitting there laughing at other devs, pointing out the issues with their game and disregarding the community concerns about it, and basically just flopping their dick on the table and being like, behold its magnificence. We're so much better than you. We don't need to listen to you. That's the issue that you have with a AAA studio sometimes. So it doesn't mean that, like, you know, Steam and indies are going to be better than that. It just means that, like, yeah, you have this problem basically that exists at these bigger level of studios where kind of they've grown too fat. They have literally like built-in waste in their actual systems where, like, if this were an indie studio, one guy could do this project, but in a AAA studio, it takes an entire team. And the reality there is because it takes the entire team, that, like, it becomes a disjointed, incoherent thing rather than one dude handling it all, where it's his vision and it's all designed to be that way. So, like, it's really interesting to see. Remember the Aliens game? Yeah. Blizzard's a bunch of idiots. No, but that's like, I think unfortunately that's just the way that the system is now at this point. The biggest studios, the biggest publishers are struggling as they have grown too big for their britches. Even someone like Bethesda that I've normally liked, I think we can look at like something like Starfield and say, it's a great idea that is missing its mark in so many ways, right? Like, why is it missing its mark? I don't know. What went on behind the scenes there? Why is it that, like, the game still has these just like rough issues that kind of didn't come out in testing in that regard? Was it just the devs didn't have time? Certainly possible. Or was it a case of like decisions had to be made and they were harsh and the devs decided to cut, you know, X feature instead of Y, and Y maybe would have been the better, like, Y maybe would have been harder, but it would have been the better one to go with, right? Like, you never know. Game development is tough and it's not an exact science. So it's like, I usually am going to give benefit of the doubt to the developers, but it's the publishers are usually where I find fault at this point, because they're the ones that are actually backing things and they're the ones that actually usually have a lot of the monetary control over stuff. So it's kind of wild to me basically to see that so many of these AAA publishers seemingly keep striking out, you know, at bat after at bat. They keep just like, hey, here's our new AAA project. Buy it. It's so good. And then everyone gets it and it's like, no, it's not. This is terrible. What the fuck are you thinking? Like, it feels like they're detached from the average game player at this point in so many ways. I'm afraid of Elder Scrolls 6. Yeah, I like we were talking about that for the Game Awards, where some people were like, hey, you know, maybe we'll get an Elder Scrolls 6 trailer. And I was like, you don't really want one right now. You want them to cook. You don't want them to rush Elder Scrolls 6 out. You don't want another Starfield where it's like, hey, we use procedural generation, but there's not actually that many like, you know, bespoke locations and stuff like that to go to. So you want to make sure that they spend enough time to refine. Like, again, I'm going to say this. I don't think procedural generation in and of itself is a problem. But it has to be done well. And so far, I think it was a cool proof of concept with Starfield, but they've got to make it way better. Like it really did kind of get bland to a degree. So again, you hope that with something like 6, they learn from any issues or mistakes that they had. And I at least still have a little bit of faith in Bethesda to do that sort of stuff. I'm sure a lot of people don't. But to me, it's like they're not as bad as, say, like a BioWare type situation yet. They're not as bad as, again, another Blizzard situation or something where, like, I do expect the developers at Bethesda still care and still want to make a good product. And again, I think in general, developers do care and do want to make a good product. What usually is the issue is deadlines, funding, again, concerns over their job and them getting fired and laid off and stuff like that. So I think that's where a big chunk of these issues comes from. Wasn't Daggerfall procedurally generated? Yeah, I mean, we used to have them back in the day, kind of these procedurally generated games, but they were very low poly, low graphic games, and that's kind of why they got away with it. But yeah, I don't know. I think, like, again, it's just the modern sort of gamers' tastes have changed, and what they expect out of a big, like, open world game is changing. And I think so much of it changed from, like, for instance, their release of Skyrim back in 2011. So, like, they released Starfield and they thought, hey, you know, like, let's still keep it similar in formula. But while there are certain things that we could all say we really like about the original, like, Skyrim formula and stuff like that, like, I think we can see there are some growing pains that need to be had at this point. I have no faith in Bethesda. I've seen far too much mush crap from them and not good enough. I mean, 76 is the one that I will absolutely grant everybody. But, like, okay, is Starfield a bad game? I think people would, like, I think the majority of gamers would say yes. But unfortunately, I think the majority of gamers, again, have not actually, like, played or seen Starfield. I think Starfield is a good game that just has flaws and issues. And those issues need to be addressed, both by the developers, and if the developers can't do it, then modders. But yeah, you shouldn't have to rely on the modders to fix a base issue with the game. Like I'm not talking about, like, ooh, hey, there's a bug here or something that the modder had to fix. I'm talking about, like, the actual design of the game, the core of it needs to be something that is straightforward and good. And I think the core concepts at play within Starfield are good ideas. I think the only way that I can say, like, that they maybe missed their mark is the narrative in Starfield. I feel like not having aliens in a sci-fi universe at this point is like even if they're not like a playable alien or something like that, but just NPCs or enemy factions or something like that, like, the fact that there were no aliens there to add that extra bit of nuance, I think, hurt Starfield. I think that definitely is something that a lot of people have a tendency to expect now, because you can look at things like, you know, again, Star Wars, it's a thing. You can look at things like Mass Effect, it's a thing. So that's why, like, when I look at Starfield, what I see is, I think their vision for it was to be more like 2004 A Space Odyssey, rather than, or was it 2003? I can't remember the actual name of the movie. Rather than, like, to be more like a Star Wars or a Mass Effect. So I think it's just a difference of, like, design. They went for something. Kudos to them for going for it, but I don't think it resonated well with the current generation of gamers. This is Sega's biggest flaw. It's rushing out game. With their 2022 installment, Sonic Frontiers, the game was rough. I heard people really positive about Frontiers. But yeah, like, when I played it, I was like, this is a cool concept, but same deal where it's like, I feel like it just has some issues with it. For me, my biggest problem was it actually began to give me vertigo, which is really wild because I don't normally get motion sick or anything like that. There've been a couple of games that have done that to me. It was Sonic Frontiers and Talos Principle. Both of them did it to me, and I'm not really sure why. In Talos Principle, sorry, 2001, thank you, chat. In Talos Principle, it was the flashing lights that did it to me. I'm not really sure why it happened in Sonic Frontiers. I think I disagree. BattleTech doesn't have aliens, and it doesn't feel like it's missing something. Yeah, I like. Okay, let me rephrase that then, because you're absolutely right, and I think that's a good point. And the reason I'm going to say this is aliens are the easy way of achieving what the core issue is here. The core issue is in sci-fi and really any good fiction, you need power struggles. you need disparate factions. You need basically a bunch of moving parts, and you're only one cog in that wheel, in that major clockwork of things, right? So like that's what good sci-fi comes from. Battletech has that with the, again, like the factions with the houses and stuff like that. Star Wars has it with the Empire and the rebels and the underworld. But yes, also aliens and their own interests and needs and desires at that. And then you have something like Mass Effect, and Mass Effect is very also like Star Wars in that regard. But Mass Effect is more on the like, hey, this is humanity entering this space now with a bunch of these aliens and those interactions and power struggles that occur from it. What's wild is Starfield has those. However, the two major events that we can really point to for this in Starfield are the mech wars and House Varun. Now, in the case of the first, the mech wars were a really cool story concept. They also already happened before the game ever began, and they already wrapped up and are over, and there are no mechs in Starfield. That is such a fucking whiff. Like, whoever wrote the lore for that majorly fucked up. Completely fucked up. Absolutely should have been a thing. Like, even if you wanted to say, like, hey, like, mechs are really rare because, like, they're super in demand and we've destroyed all of them, so, like, the player can't find any, and then you add it with, like, a later update, that's cool. But the fact that the mech war is already done and over and mechs are outlawed and they're just not a thing anymore is like, who thought that was a good idea? That's like, again, it'd be like having sci-fi where it's like, oh yeah, there were aliens. We just killed them all already. And it's like, okay. The fact that you can't steal spacecraft in Starfield is a massive miss. You can. You can steal spacecraft in Starfield. You can board enemy ships. The issue is like there are certain ships down on the surface of planets that become unboardable for some reason. I'm not really sure why. Like that's a weird like programming like issue, I suspect. And so like they don't allow you to, but like if it's like out in space, you can absolutely steal it. And there are some that like are on the ground that you can steal. It's just you can't steal every ship. Because people would totally produce mechs in secret. Oh yeah, absolutely. So then the second one here is House Varun. So there's like the three major factions in Starfield, and House Varun is one of them. House Varun is supposed to be the secretive alien like based house. Now, there is an expansion, the Shattered Space expansion, that deals with House Varun. But I have to say this. What a load of shit. It should absolutely not be in an expansion. Because guess what? It's not in the base game anymore. There is literally like next to no interactions with House Varun in base Starfield. So like, oh, hey, this is cool. I want to check this out. You can't go into their embassy. You can't do anything. There's one quest line where you go into the embassy and you meet the one dude that's still there, and he just like often leaves. And that's it. That's the only quest line there. And you don't actually get any real interaction with House Varun. You're just operating by proxy with them. And I'm like, again, that is such a whiff. Like, this is the issue with Starfield from a narrative standpoint. The story sucks because there are no mechs. There are no aliens. The factions that should be there vying for power aren't there. And there's no actual power struggle. There's no actual intrigue. That's the problem with it. It's like they basically chose the worst possible like outcome for every interesting thing. Hey, should we put aliens in our universe? No. Should we put mechs in our universe? No. Should we put, a power struggle with these different factions in our universe? No. Well, what do? Let's do exploration. Okay, well, what are we going to explore? Well, we're going to explore the known universe, and we're going to go out there and we're going to find stuff. Okay, it's going to be about finding what's out there. Okay, so what's out there? Nothing. I'm not even kidding, chat. That is the ending of the story in Starfield. You learn what's out there, and what's out there is you. You are what's out there. There is nothing. Nothing else. It's such a fucking narrative whiff. That's the problem with the game. Like, even things like the procedural generation and stuff, all of that would be remediable by either the developers or modders. If the game were more interesting. If the game had attracted more people to want to know more about it. But it didn't. It's bad in that regard. Like, the game itself is not bad. Whoever the fuck wrote the story for Starfield is an idiot. And I'm sorry, because I know I'm pretty sure it's Emil from Bethesda, but like, there's just so many like missed opportunities, it feels like. And maybe their intent was to like explore them in the future and unroll them. They're not going to get to that point though, because basically they didn't include enough in the base product. The base product lacks these interesting things. The Shattered Space expansion should have expanded on House Varun, when the reality is it's an introduction to it. It should have expanded on something that was already there, but there was nothing there. Yeah, during the Great Crusade, where are they? We killed them all. But again, it's like you look at something like Warhammer, right? And what do you have in Warhammer? You have the various factions fighting each other still. And it's more like humanity against itself and humanity against demons and stuff like that. So it's like, I don't know. It is what it is. I think they could have done 2001: A Space Odyssey. And it would have been fine. But here's where they fucked up as well on the exploration side. Yeah. For those of you that have played Starfield, when you go to a new planet, are you the first person that has ever been to that planet? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Look, it technically doesn't mean that you have to be the first person to some place to be able to explore it. But the reality is, you're never the first person to any place. Every single planet has already been visited. The entire universe has already been mapped. And every single deserted space station is not deserted. There are pirates at all of them. There's no fucking exploration in the game. You're not actually exploring. You're exploring for, like, you, the player, but the idea and concept of you going out there to find out what's out there, it's already known. It's like, there is no mystery. That's the issue. The only mystery is with the Starborn. And while that's interesting enough for the main storyline, it's not enough to sustain the game. Because that's a one-off mystery. Once you know, you know. And you quite literally never get the joy of learning that ever again. I don't know. That's my biggest issue with Starfield. All right, chat. It's 11 o'clock. My voice is getting kind of tired. I may be like watching a bunch of stuff this weekend, so I don't know. Maybe we do like a media night or something. Let me see who else is on. Mr. CZ's on. I'm gonna send you guys his way. He is watching some trailers for the Game Awards. So if you guys missed any of the announcements and reveals, which there were a ton of them, we didn't even talk about them all tonight. Go give Mr. CZ a watch. He's a good buddy of mine, member of Team Explosion, loves to play FGO as well, and is probably grinding the lotto himself. So if you guys got questions, feel free to ask him. Hope you guys have a good weekend. And if I don't get to see you guys, I hope you guys have a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holidays for you guys. But again, thank you all for being here. Thank you for all the support. Go give CZ my love. Have a good one.